Now let's talk about something you just touched on. You guys recorded all this stuff yourself.
Yep.
And this is, I mean, you guys also have the Wave Studios.
Yep.
So before we get into what you did with your recording, let's talk about some of the bands you have recorded.
Wow. Ghost Ship, they're from Syracuse.
Which you hear right on Locals Only. We play My Oath pretty regularly.
Well, I mean, there's Ghost Ship,
Current.
Devin's band, Current.
Imbroglio, Devin's old band. Cowards, we recorded. Atlas,
All
from
is
Watertown. All is Sacred, my other little screamy band.
Ebony Sorrow.
Ebony Sorrow.
Yeah.
Yep. One of my bands.
We recorded some old Summer Cult stuff.
Yep, Summer Cult, also from Syracuse.
Now currently you're working on that Cosmic Sea record, right?
Cosmic Sea is going on right now.
Young kids, super talented.
Very
Wait till you hear what these guys are doing with those kids.
Very talented.
And you'll actually be able to see Cosmic Sea play with Deicide in November.
That's
We'll
right.
have details about that coming up. You can check the 95X concert calendar for that. Now, a lot of bands do this quote-unquote home recording stuff, and they send it to me, and I can't play it on the air because it's just like, it's just thin sounding and over compressed, and I'm not knocking anything or anybody because it's just one of those things where everybody with a laptop thinks they're an engineer now. Describe the process with this, because usually you guys will write the songs, you'll rehearse them, you'll go in and somebody else will record them. You guys have control of this thing from point A until it's done.
Right.
And for me, I feel like that's part of why it's so good, is because it's like a birthing process. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that and I mean, when it comes to us recording ourselves, like, we've been doing it for a very, very, very long time. So, like, I mean, eventually, like, all of our earlier stuff sounded like, thin garbage too. Like, I mean, people just need to, cut their teeth and
keep at it
and start
learn, man. Read everything.
It takes a very, very long time. They are lucky enough to know that they have so much at their fingertips. Anybody coming into home recording right now, I mean, that literally, like, you can download stuff.
It was when we started. It was like pretty much polishing a turd. And we started doing this stuff like years ago. Oh, it was so hard to
digital recording was not.
It was not where it is today at all.
Right, you're talking 8-at machines.
It was just horrible.
I mean, nowadays, like, you can't tell the difference.
You can get a guitar tone just downloading like Guitar Rig or something like that.
Yeah,
which is digital amplifiers and things like that. They didn't have that.
There's apps on the iPhone for that.
So you can get
and people
tones.
Can't tell. People cannot tell the difference.
They can't tell the difference.
Most of the time, when we record bands, when we do, like, their drums, we'll have a scratch track and it'll be like a digital plug-in guitar, and everybody's always skeptical about, like, like, we want to actually use our amp and actually mic the cab and stuff, but every time they hear the plug-in that we have for the guitar, they're like, why don't we just use that?
Yeah,
they always end up liking that.
It just
always like it better.
It's the future. It really is. But it's good to have a regular amp tone as well on there. I mean, honestly, like, I learned how to record and, like, engineering stuff like that just by going to other studios, reading anything I could find, like, anything at all. Any sort of, like, okay, this guy, is a mastering engineer. I'm going to read his article on so-and-so, I don't know, online forum or something like that. I just read my ass off, just anything I could get my hands on, any little, engineering books, stuff like that. And I hung out at Morrisound Studios a lot, and Jocko.
Yeah, Jason Randall, he's the man.
He's the man. He taught me a lot of stuff. I'd say a good 75% of the stuff that I know, engineering, has come from Jocko. So, I just hung out with him and kind of, like, watched what he did, learned some things, and tips and tricks and stuff like that. And that's really where I cut my teeth, at that studio, just learning how to do not just engineering, but how to, take a band, people you haven't met, and, like, get them to trust you and things like that, and do their sound justice, I guess. That's the most important thing for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, let's tease a little bit here.
Okay.
Because there's two songs that exist outside of your world right now. And I have both of them.
Okay.
One of which we play, one of which we play next week. But rumor has it that there's 2 full albums worth of material done and in the can.
Yeah.
Is that a true statement?
It's a true statement. Yeah.
22 songs.
So there's 22 songs. And
you gotta understand, though, that a lot of, I'd say a good, like, 8 songs are just revamps of stuff that I wrote when I was like 16. You know, sitting in my mom's basement just being miserable. You know, I pulled a lot of that out and like, you know, TJ, what do you think of this? And he's like, well, we do this to it, and you know, it's changing it around, making it more adult. But a lot of that stuff comes from there. Or you know, and TJ just, he's insane. You know, you can write 5 songs in a day, and they're like the greatest thing you ever heard. It's just the way his mind works.
I just have a lot of free time. That's it.
So what's the plan for a release?
Well,
Like, are you gonna do all 22 songs in one shot? You're gonna split it up into 2 things, maybe a bunch of EPs.
I don't know. We haven't really talked about it as much. We've kind of, you know, tossed around ideas of which songs you want to use. You know, like we don't really know yet. You know, it's going to be a definite release. It's definitely going to be a large portion of those. If not scrapping some, then yes, putting something else out. You know, like maybe an EP or something like B-sides from that record and whatnot. So I think most of it will see the light of day.
Do you think it'll see the light of day by the end of this year?
That's quite positive. Yeah,
Possibly.
I think so.
Like maybe a full length's worth of material will be by the end of the year.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I think we can do that.
Oh yeah.
If the album is half as good as the 2 songs I have, you're literally looking at probably not being in Syracuse for very long.
Great.
Thank God. That'd be great.
I'm just saying, man. Like,
Don't get us wrong. No, it's, you know, Syracuse this is our home, but I don't know, man. You know, we're looking for something else at this
The
point.
whole idea is to show
being mobile.
is to, you know, spread music around the world. So
We're just, you know,
do it.
TJ and I are an architect. We're just road dogs. You know, like we'd stay on tour forever. I don't know. Once you get it in your bones, it just that itch is always with you, and you just want to get back on tour. And that's, you know, kind of what this is about. It's like, you know, doing music that we, at the end of the day, that's what we listen to. You know, we play an Architect, we get back in the van, and it's like, don't play any metal. You know, put on Bjork or something, like, you know, like, I just have to relax now, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, at the end of the day, that's what's on our iPods. That's, you know, this kind of stuff, you know, things with strong melodies and, you know, can really kind of lull you to sleep, you know. And, you know, I don't know, it was just time to be honest with ourselves.
See, I think the thing that you guys have an advantage over a lot of other bands at this point is your sound, your overall sound, can fit with so many different types of bands. So the touring opportunities are essentially endless at this point. Because you could tour with a band like the Deftones, yet you could also tour with a heavier, almost melodic hardcore band,
Yeah, like-
or with a radio rock band, or all of these other things, because that sound fits in while the banner falls down. Because it's a class act here.
that's
Duct tape,
That's-
ladies and gentlemen.
that's fate.
I fixed
right
it.
That's kind of like, I think that drives from the fact that like I write some songs and Jay writes some songs, and one of our other band members has written a couple of the songs too. Like, so it comes from like different angles, and of course different times. Like, you know, like what I've written is stuff that's spread out the past like 8 years of my life. Some of the Jay stuff's new, some of it's when he's like a teenager. So it is very eclectic.
It has different moods. You know?
It is different moods.
We're
Like
very moody bastards.
Yeah, so we're
Sometimes we're angry, sometimes we're sad. You
we're
know?
bipolar and capricious. And we don't have complexes. We have cathedrals. That's
Well,
what
some of the best bands, in my opinion, are bands that have more than one songwriter in the band. And I mean, that goes all the way back to the Beatles.
Right.
But in modern times, like one of my favorite bands, and a lot of people don't realize it's a 2-songwriter band, is Alkaline Trio. You know, there's distinct differences between Matt Skiba and the other guy whose name I don't know. But you know, it's just, I feel like that leads to there being a lot more variety, but still in the same vein, all on one record, all on one stage.
I hate to say it, but I definitely kind of think me and TJ have that kind of Lennon McCartney kind of, you know, like songwriting partnership.
Which one am I?
I don't know. I'm not even going to go. I feel like an ass saying it, but I'd be a liar if I didn't say I considered it. I don't know, you know, he's my songwriting partner. You know, like a lot of things, if I can't come up with something, I'm like, TJ, make this better. You know.
And I have a lot of things where I'm like,
He's like, I need a melody, Jay.
I
I'm like,
have no idea.
I got this.
But
So yeah, there's definitely
having the opportunities like that, I mean, we really just all miss being on the road. So if we can mesh and have endless possibilities of people we can tour with, well, that just means as soon as we're done with one tour, we can be booking one while we're on the road. Like, the goal is to just be on the road. Like, there's nothing else we want more. So.
And just do music that can cross those genres and boundaries. And
Yeah,
things like that,
and,
you know.
you know,
We love
maybe
music
stop
from
some
every
clicks.
every you know type of those genres. You know, like obsessively, not just like I kind of like this. No, like like I'm a big hardcore fan. I'm a big radio rock fan. I'm a big like melodic indie rock fan. Like I love all that stuff.
And you can hear all of that stuff in the band.
Yeah, it's just it comes out like that. That's not. It's it's not really intentional. I mean, sometimes it'll be but no, it's just that's how it sounds. That's how we've developed over the time. So
it's nice because all of the influences to me are very subtle.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times you listen to a band and you're like, oh, they really
Right,
like
yeah.
Nickelback.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're
Yeah.
emulating that. But with the truly great bands, the ones that you can't put your finger on why it sounds so familiar and why you're connecting so well with it is because it's a band of guys that have very subtle influences. It's all right. It's just a fucking banner.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to make it your own. That's the thing that I think some bands get wrong. They say let's write a record like Slipknot or Deftones, and we'll go out on tour forever. It's like, no, man, you can only fool people for so many times. For so long, you can only fool people. Like that's just you got to make it your own. Like Deftones are one of my favorite bands, but I'm not gonna try to sound like the Deftones completely. I mean some of the influences and stuff like that, but like I'll write a part that sounds like Deftones, and I'm like, but I got a Radiohead part, or like I got I just got this stupid little metal riff. Like you have to interpret it and make it have your own voice.
Each song's got to be its own song too. You can't you can't write an album focused around one single. Like
A lot of bands do that.
every song needs to be its own entity and its own single. Like
And this comes from us
it can't be
being
boring.
we're music fans.
Yeah.
We're just dead music fans, and so we know the mistakes that our bands have made because we're watching. We're those kids in their rooms with their headphones. That's us. We're not just like the playing shows and I don't watch this band. No, we know every band around Syracuse. We pay close attention, so we know the mistakes. We've learned from the mistakes, and
Been there, done that.
yeah, and we don't want to. We want to do something right this time.
Very cool. Now, speaking of other bands, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Right now, I've been doing this for 19 years, working in and around the local music scene, booking shows, taking care of the bands that I care about.
Right.
For me, since I got into this in 1993, I can't think of a time when there has been more quality bands in Syracuse at one time.
Absolutely.
Like right now, I could probably rattle 10 off the top of my head that I think are better than bands that are out on national record contracts touring the country.
Yep.
My thought is, I want to see what you guys are into right now. Like, what are the local bands that are really doing it for you guys right now?
Summer Cult.
Yep.
I concur.
Summer Cult. Nobody sounds like them.
They were the very first world premiere we did on Locals
Right,
Only for
yeah.
Touch Me, yeah.
They're great. They're just doing something that nobody.
They have fun.
You gotta have balls to do music like that around here. They're trying to be fun and minimal, and they have acoustic guitars and they're just writing good songs. Most people around here are like, we gotta do a hardcore metal band because that's what's around here. So they're definitely one of the better bands around here right now.
I agree.
Probably mine would be bands like Onika and Scarlet Ending.
Yeah,
Scarlet Ending.
definitely.
Scarlet
Yeah.
Ending. Yeah, great band.
Scarlet Ending has a new record coming out.
Yes, they do.
It'll be out September 7th. Great stuff. Their last one was fantastic. They get a lot of airplay on Locals Only as well. Those guys, just to me, are not a typical band that you expect to come out of a local music scene.
Right.
That's something that always comes on, you know what I mean, like a wave, just out of nowhere, and
Right.
you're just totally aware of it because everybody knows about it.
I think they're like one of the best bands to see live.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah,
They're amazing every time I've seen
two gorgeous girls, singing.
I mean, Kaylee and Kalina,
Yeah.
they're phenomenal.
And not only that they're gorgeous, and then you hear the voice come out of them, and you're just
And
like,
then-
oh, I love it.
I think, and a lot of their newer stuff is so vocally driven, like with those, like them and John combined. I think
John Ted, one of the most underrated musicians in
Absolutely.
Syracuse by far.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Some of their vocal harmonies they have, and a lot of their newer stuff, and their vocal layering is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
How about you, Devin?
I don't know. What about the hardcore genre? You gotta go there. What's some good bands there? I don't know. That's a tough area. I
The
think bands
one
are
thing that I
some-
liked, I mean, I've been over heavy music for a little while now because it's just getting stale to me.
Yeah, so it's kinda
But
weird.
James Strandell has a new band called Progress of Man,
I haven't heard them yet. Yeah.
which it's blowing me away, and trying to get them to go record because it's just they've got that hooky kill switch kind of thing, and it's well written and well
We're
produced.
trying to
And
get him in the studio, actually. Yeah, we're trying to hook that up.
yeah, I would love to see that happen because people need to hear that band too.
Definitely Blood Money. They they haven't really done it. They haven't done any shows yet. They're just starting. They're going to be recording with us soon.
Heavy bands, Cosmic C,
Really
Cosmic
heavy.
C, man. You know, for metal, it's got to be Cosmic C.
Yeah.
And those Cosmic Sea kids, not one of them is older than 19, right?
Yeah, they're young. They're really young, but
Yeah,
they're
phenomenal.
they're way ahead of the game. You know, they know what they want. They know what they want to do. They know
going
how
for
to do it. They really are. They're by far one of the best metal bands around here right now. You know, because they're just doing it right. You know, they have the metal thing going. You know, the technical metal, but they got good melodies and things like that. You know,
They're definitely a band that once they get this record done, do a bunch on the road. By the time, if they keep with the vigor that they have, by the time they write their next record, they'll be absolutely amazing.
And they don't realize how good a chemistry they have together.
Yeah, they really don't.
It's like everything.
Which is a good thing.
Everything we've all been through, it's like they got on the first shot. It's
Yeah,
like
they really did.
perfect.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Prodigal.
Yeah.
Prodigal.
Whatever.
I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning.
You know.
All right, so I appreciate you guys coming in once again.
Absolutely.
It's How to Disappear Completely. TJ, Devin, Jay, ReverbNation.com/How to Disappear Completely. You can find them on Facebook if you search, and there's a player on there. I suggest you go and check that out. We're not going to tell you when, where, or anything about the first show. All I'm going to tell you is it's happening in the beginning of October, and you'll have details because I'll let this cat out of the bag. It's going to be the very first Locals Only showcase. We're going to take the stuff we play on the radio, and we're going to take those bands, and we're going to put them in a club. And we're going to do 5 bands for $5 because that's something that hasn't been done in Syracuse in a long time. So a $5 show, How to Disappear Completely is going to play for the first time. Go to the Reverb Nation, go to their Facebook, and stay tuned to 95x.com, and we'll let you know. Guys, thank you very much for coming in. And very, very soon we got to have you guys on the air. You guys down to come on the air, do a little interview?
Anytime.
All right, cool. Thank you guys again very much. Don't forget, Locals Only, brought to you by the Joe Stanley Law Offices and Music for the Mission. Search musicforthemission.org or search Music for the Mission, all one word, on Facebook. They support the scene. You should support them.